Well, because it's embarrassing what happened and how this goal stands in the Premier League, in the best league that we say is the best league in the world. We really have to think about it deeply, because I've been 20 years in this country and now I feel ashamed. It's an absolute disgrace. You look it on the TV, it's an absolute disgrace, and it's too much at stake.
Well, I'm obviously going to say it's not a penalty, and I believe it's not a penalty. I've been to see the referee.
No penalty. And look, in a moment like that, I believe that the VAR, I don't understand why they don't ask the referee to help. I don't understand why they don't ask the referee to help.
What I think is the inconsistency. The players don't know anymore what is the policy. And I think it's all across. When you see this weekend, the Premier League.
They did fight very hard for the referees to become professional many years ago with David Dean, and we did a good job to allow them to become professional. And I see no improvement,
I will be only satisfied if they give me the 2 points back, which is not going to be the case. I appreciate, and I think they were really sincere, open, and genuine apologies and explanation, which is really good. But it doesn't take the fact that do we have 2 less points that we should have on the table.
What's up, what up guys, it's your boy here, Owen the Great. A lot of you have been asking me, Owen, where did the corruption in the Premier League start? Corruption in the Premier League was there in the early 40s, 50s, but back then it was very corruption on a very low level. It was just the match fixing, and the amount of money that was being exchanged was rather small compared to what is going on right now. During the 80s, the Premier League was not the best league in Europe. In fact, the Premier League was among the worst leagues in Europe. There were no broadcasting rights. In fact, all the money that came into the Premier League was sent to the EFL, and the EFL would send a huge percentage to the lower leagues. This was to ensure the Premier League, or rather the top league, the English league, does not thrive, or rather does not become too big compared to the lower leagues. So a host of clubs, namely Manchester United, Arsenal, Everton, and other big clubs, Liverpool, met in a room and decided that this could not go on because a lot of star players such as Hood Gullit, they were going to the Serie A. The Serie A was what the Premier League is right now. So a lot of players were going to the Serie A, and this was really disturbing a lot of the English league officials. So they decided that this cannot go on. They cannot continue sending money to the lower leagues. So 20 Premier League, 20 clubs came together to form what is now the Premier League. They decided that all the money that they collect will be remaining in the top league, and therefore the Premier League began in the 1990s, early 1990s. So when this happened, the English league got a lot of money. There was an influx in money. They got broadcasting rights. Sky was given the broadcasting rights, and the league started booming. A lot of money came in. So once the money started coming in, that is when things started getting tricky. A lot of with the amount of money that was being pumped in, we came to the 2000s, Abramovich, and later 2010s, we saw Sheikh Mansour coming into the league, and these people, these owners were buying small clubs like Chelsea, Manchester City, and grooming them to become huge giants. But they were using unscrupulous means, and some of them, guys, most of the corruption was happening in terms of bribing the referees. Some of them would buy some players who would rather, fix with some players, tell them just get a card, and sort of things. So when the VAR came, a lot of people thought that now the end of match fixing, the end of bribery of referees is going to come. But unfortunately, that is not what has happened. The VAR has come. It has lessened the corruption in the Premier League and across Europe, but there are still many loopholes through which corruption can happen. For example, we can have corruption through the schedules. The schedules are the match fixtures. You can see a club can get very easy fixtures towards the start of the Premier League, or very difficult fixtures, such that by the time we are playing 5 games, uh, the club is already 5 points ahead of the other clubs. So the rest of the clubs are already playing catch up. You see a club is already at 15 points, while other clubs are at 10 points, 10 points, 10 points. This tells you that the club that is at 15 points got a considerably easier fixture compared to the others that are at 10 points. And I'm not mentioning any clubs here, but if you are wise, you can understand what I mean. There are some clubs that have already played with 4 or 5 very big top 6 giants. They've already gone to Old Trafford, they've already gone to Anfield, they've already played against Manchester City. And it's just 5 games. A lot of you will tell me that, oh, and all teams will play against these clubs towards the end of the season. But what you're not understanding is that when you have very big fixtures at the start of the season, a lot of players are yet to come up to speed with the season. They are being forced to play very high intense matches very early in the season, and this always results in a lot of injuries. And it's not surprising that teams like Arsenal are averaging more injured players than even the goals that they're scoring. Arsenal have had, I think, 12 injuries since the start of this year, which is very obnoxious. They've had more injuries than their goals since March. So this is just one of the ways through which a club can get a favorable fixture and how it can help them. So don't ask me how you talk to the bosses so that you get a favorable fixture. Another loophole through which corruption can be done in the Premier League is through the added minutes. The added minutes is one of the places where teams thrive in corruption. David Moyes just recently said that if it was Liverpool, if it was Everton that was leading by 2-1, he was very sure they wouldn't have added only 3 minutes to the game. But because it was Liverpool that was leading Everton by 2-1, they only added 3 minutes. And when a coach of David Moyes' caliber says something like that, it is very, very serious. And he must have thought over it for a very long time before speaking it out. And I agree 100% with David Moyes. If a lot of additional minutes for teams like Liverpool have been questionable. Sometimes they get even up to 10 minutes of added time, and sometimes they get 2 minutes. So you don't understand. If they're leading, they give a very small added time. If they're looking for a drawing goal, or if they're looking for a winning goal, they add over 10 minutes. That is a serious loophole that is being utilized in this Premier League corruption. Of course, the VAR is also something that has brought a lot of debates. There are goals that have been ruled out, such as Fulham's goal was just ruled out the other day. That is also another loophole. A goal is ruled out by the VAR, and then after the game, they issue an apology. They say that goal should not have been ruled out. If a fan like you can see from your TV at home that this is a goal, you think officials are not able to see that this is a goal? It is definitely 100% corruption. Another way that corruption is done is through the selection of referees. A lot of referees during the summer break are taken to ref games in Saudi Arabia, where they are paid over £10,000 per game. So if a referee is taken to watch over like 5-6 games and comes back with over 100,000, do you think that referee will be unbiased against the team that he went to help? For example, Michael Oliver. I don't know if it was Michael Oliver or who. I don't want to mention names. I'm just saying one of the top Premier League referees went to Dubai to help Sheikh Mansour and the whole Manchester City consulate in refereeing some games. And he was paid a lot of money. And a lot of his decisions for Manchester City were seen as very biased. Something also, we also saw referee Stuart Atwell. He had been banned from refereeing Arsenal games for about 2 years after his incident with Mikel Arteta, where Mikel Arteta said that this is a disgrace. The famous disgracia, where he said that it is a Spanish word, he confused it with English, blah blah blah. When he came back against the Manchester City game, it also what happened. There was a very clear second yellow card for Bernardo Silva, but he didn't issue the yellow card. So refereeing is also another place where corruption is currently being done in the Premier League. There are a lot of loopholes. Do not be fooled that the Premier League is biased. The Premier League and the FA, the referees, the officials have a way of deciding which club or which team will win. Sometimes you can just get many red cards. For example, at the start of last season, we saw Arsenal getting over 5 red cards in a streak of like six games, which slows you down, slows the team down, and makes sure that you guys cannot thrive and go very far ahead of the other teams. Let me know what to think about this, because this is something that has been disturbing me for a long time, and the earlier we start to talk about these issues, the better it will be for the Premier League and its growth in general.